Now, I like to have, I have an active handstand practice, and I do like to put handstand in the practice. I was looking at my time. I feel like we could throw it in there for those of you who want it, okay? So I did handstand last month. If you want to review that video, I welcome you to that. You know, it's on the January Asana page. I don't know the minute, although I can look it up and email it out to you. But it's the same thing. We're just doing the exact same thing. And we'll just play with kicking, see what comes. Finger pads are always the brakes, okay? And some days I'll do a really long handstand practice and I just like really go for it. And other days I tend to just do one or two and that feels really good to me. And then I'll just move on. Okay. So again, I encourage you to just hit pause. If you want to hit pause, play a little bit longer. If you're taking a ladies' holiday, do take time off from inverting if that feels, let's say, intuitive and instinctual to you. And, you know, you can, whenever I am on my first 3 days of my moon, I will tend to do a standing pose and hip opening practice and just skip the inversions. If my back feels up for it, I'll do some back bends, but it tends to be, you know, a different practice. Okay. So take another couple minutes if you'd like for kicking up handstand. I'll do a little bit more and then we'll meet back in a short time. Good, and once you feel good about that, come on home. You can actually come to standing. Make fists. These are called Popeye arms. Curl them in, bend your elbows, and just start stretching. Woo, your elbows straight as you keep your fists curled in. We'll do that a few times. Good. Come back to home, Tadasana, at the front of your mat. Back this mat up a little bit. And folding your hands to Anjali Mudra at your heart. Again, get really bright through your inner body. Exhale your hands to your sides and inhale, rise up. With your exhale, back forward. Inhale and gaze. And with your exhale, go back to plank pose. Chaturanga Dandasana, Bhujangasana, and with your exhale, downward facing dog. Again, taking all the time that you need there to move through the transition. Connect the four corners of your body. So shoulder blades. I mean, sometimes in order to get this, you can shift forward a little bit and then shrug shoulders up and really move your heart down. And then bend your knees, stick your bum out. So now the four corners are connected. And then I'll just stretch it out with this connection. Okay, so whenever we stretch out, we don't want to lose the connection that we created. We just want to have more freedom that comes from the place of connection. In Tantra, boundaries create freedom. Inhale your left foot through between your hands. I know I switched sides. Exhale, pivot your back heel to the earth. Parsvakonasana. Give it a go. You can pull your right waistline up. So I take hold of the rib cage, just pull it up toward the ear. Can you have weight evenly in both legs? So keep grounding into your back leg. Triangle pose. Hug your legs in, and then move the top of this right thigh back to scoop your tailbone, spinning your heart open, and then add the right arm. What does it feel like to be aligned with your own authentic truth and to stand in it? Good. With your exhale, circle your hand around, lift your back heel, and then widen your back foot a little bit. Inhale up through the sides of your body so you energetically lengthen. With your exhale, take your right arm to the outside of your leg. Now, you can stay here in the Anjali Mudra version, which is amazing. You might lower your right fingertips down. I have to watch my elbow again here, so I'm not totally hyperextending, and then stretch the left arm. Good. Circle this top arm around, and maybe you'll work toward a bind. If that seems crazy, don't worry about it. With an inhale, unwind. Okay, now glide your front foot back a little bit, lower the back heel down, inhale your heart forward, and with your exhale, spin your navel over to the left. Okay, so here, just play with moving the top of your right thigh back and even widening it so this front hip can draw back. Parsvakonasana. Inhaling, stretch your heart forward, and then exhale. Either you keep the right fingertips on the inside of the ankle, you can take them to the outside. Bring your left hand to your hip or sacrum, and then lengthen through your crown. Draw the head of this arm bone back, and then stretch. Feel your breath. Don't forget to breathe. Circle it all the way around. Good. And then lifting your back heel, step back, down dog. Inhaling, step your right foot through. And again, pivoting your back heel. Utthita Parsvakonasana. So again, play with lifting the left rib cage up toward the ear, rolling shoulder blade onto the back, and then stretching the top arm. Soften where you can. I have to remind myself that. Triangle pose. So what does it feel like to really draw your right foot back so that you're drawing your thigh bone into your hip crease or socket? Scoop your tailbone to really lengthen from your center through the back leg to spin your heart open. So imagine Duerga's hands here holding you at your waistline, or let's say your kidneys, and then another set of her hands holding you at your hips. So imagine her hugging your outer hips in, rooting you down. That one feels amazing. And simultaneously hugging you in and lengthening you up toward your crown. Good. With your next exhale, circle it around again. And shorten your stance just a little bit. Adjust the back foot. Lifting your back thigh. Exhale your front hip back. And then take hold of your right thigh with your right hand. Create a lot of space for you to go more deeply into your twist. Okay, so keep scissoring your hips. And then as you spin your heart open, lean your head back a little. Now, you might go spread your wings. And if you did on the first side, you can play with the bind. Amazing how different our bodies are side to side. Inhaling, you might get spit out, that's okay. Unwind, and then you're going to stretch front leg straight. Now feel this, when you pull your right foot back energetically, hamstrings engage. Keep that sensation as you ground the back heel and work your hips toward level. Spinning navel over to the right, bow over the front leg. Breathe out through your mouth whenever you need. I like to palpate just to feel that the leg muscles are working to support me. Inhale, stretch heart forward. And with your exhale, take your hand, if you did on the other side, to the outside of the ankle. And top hand comes to the hip. Now as you go full stretch, just keep shoulder blades on the back, thigh bones plugged into hip sockets, feel your own midline. Exhaling, circle it around, and then step back again, down dog. Woo! Do what you need to do here to just kind of work it out a little bit. Inhaling, bring your left leg forward, pigeon prep. And pivot, actually, let's bend the back knee to start. So we don't need to pivot anything. Pivot, bending the back knee. Bring your left hand midline. So that's always going to help a little bit for balance. And then you can stretch out through the back leg a little. Now here, if you want to bring your left hand to your thigh, you can. I find that leaning forward a little bit with my upper body allows me to really deepen the groins, connecting thigh bones to hip sockets. And then scooping the tailbone allows for more of an opening in the heart and a huge quad stretch. You can even pull up on your right foot here. Just settle into your experience. Exhaling, release. Good. And then adjust your front leg however you'd like. Adjust your back leg, making sure it's parallel to the sides of the mat. And then come on in for a nice deep pigeon prep. Keep pulling the back leg forward energetically, the front hip back, and then scooping the tailbone and stretching from the pelvis back through the back leg. That feels amazing. And then with your next inhale, rise on up. Now, instead of coming back to down dog, simply place your front foot. You can work your leg to straight and kind of work out the pelvis a little bit. Okay, and then bending both knees, spring off the back leg for Ardha Chandra Chapasana. So catch your back foot and work to a little standing bow. Push your foot into your hand to open. Feel how when you scoop your tailbone, it allows you to get heavier in the standing leg and to spin your heart open more. And from here, we'll stretch it back out and actually glide back to down dog. Inhale the right knee forward over to the side, pigeon prep. And then again, bringing right hand to midline. We'll do the thigh stretch first. Scissor your hips, and then take hold of the inner foot. Pulling your back knee forward and your front knee back. Feel the middle. Whew, and then scoop the tailbone to lengthen. Lengthen the pelvis down and the heart up. So what does it feel like to be centered in your own authentic truth? Duodaga roars. Where can you roar more, even in yourself? Maybe at the places where you feel insecure or unworthy. She comes through and cuts through the illusion, reminding you that when you're in your center, even if you have fears or doubts or judgments arise, those don't hold you back. Scissoring your hips again here. Lengthen from your pelvis back through your back leg. Inhale, draw your side ribs up. And exhale, keep your heart melting as you stretch back through the back leg and stay full through your back waist. Good. From here, inhale, come on up. And then placing your foot down. Lengthen through crown. Now, I like to bend both knees, and then this back leg you can just kind of spring off of. Okay? Then from here, take hold of the foot and really hug the left knee toward the midline. And then as you do, you can feel the midline, and then push your foot into your hand, leaning back. And then stretching it out, glide back to down dog. And then lower your knees, rest back child's pose. See if you can even create some space here between your belly and your hip flexors. So kind of arching a little bit in your midsection if you tend to collapse there like I do sometimes. And then let your breath just settle you. You might just move your hips side to side, gently rocking yourself here. And with your inhale, rise up to sitting. And we'll be playing with Vishvamitrasana. First we'll do a prep. So Vishva is friend of the universe. So first we'll do the preparatory version, then we'll do the full version. So let's go left leg forward first. We'll just keep consistent with that theme. Bringing your left leg forward, take your right knee back, and then pivot on your knee so that your back shin is parallel to the back of the mat. Then walking your hands to the inside. Wow, I really feel this in my adductors. You can play with scissoring your hips. Instead of letting that happen, scissor your hips, okay? Working your left shoulder behind your calf, lift your foot up, okay? the back thigh lifts. I could push the foot into the hand as we did in Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, or the standing leg stretches toward the beginning. Okay. Now, you can also have a belt here to go along with your stance. You can also have a belt on the foot for lassoing it toward you. Okay, so bending your elbows, stick your bum out behind you, okay? So you're really working to deepen the groins. Keep that as you work your shoulder behind here, placing hand on the floor, on the outside of the front foot. Breathe deeply. And then here, as you lift your foot up, leaning back into your hand, you'll catch the foot, either outer edge, big toe, or lasso, okay? And then push the foot into the hand. Now here, the back thigh lifts, the front hip narrows. So wrap your front buttock under you. So the yoga practice always invites us to really look at the parts of ourselves that are misaligned, you know. It invites us to the parts of ourselves that are aligned and feel really good, but then it shows us everything, right? So I invite you to really come back into your center, anchor yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically in your center to approach the poses. If you want to work the prep that we just did, awesome. You can do that for this next thing. If you'd like to move with me into full Vishva, which is just with the back foot down, we'll go there now. So left leg forward, right leg back. Go pretty long with your stance like you would for Parsvakonasana. And then here, again, widen your thighs back and apart as you walk your hands to the inside. You can work your hand behind your calf. Place your left hand on the outside of front foot. Now power up this back leg. It's got to be super strong so that you can lean into your hand and lasso your foot or hold it. Okay, back thigh lifts, and then wrap your front bum under you to stretch your leg towards straight. The more I lift the back thigh, the more I can crank my front bum under me and spin my heart open. And to come out, just place the foot, unwind, leave a little room at the end, so you have a little energy at the end to get out of it, and then we'll go to the other side. Same thing, walking hands to the inside, make your back thigh really strong, lift the back inner thigh up, and I engage the hamstring, pulling the foot back energetically. Sticking your bum out, work your shoulder under your knee. Move your hair out of the way, and then push your foot actively into your hand. Back thigh is steady. So if you want to put your foot, if you're finding you can't get steadiness, put your back foot against a wall, okay? That'll allow you to lift the back thigh, crank the front hip, and stretch. Call on your fierce Durga nature. Excellent. Okay, I invite you to, play with that. If you want to pause the video and play a little bit more, you can. If you would like a water break, I invite you to do that. And for the poses, if you have any questions, that's why we're opening up the forum so that people can ask not just about the astrology, which is important, but also about, any of the pose information. I'm feeling stuck in this place, can you help, kind of thing. And sometimes it's just, we always have to work exactly where we are to get where our minds want us to be, right? Just work where you are instead of focusing on what's in the future. Be with your current experience, because that's what's real. And then things will actually unfold for you almost magically. That's just how it works. You know what that pose is similar to? Bird of Paradise. So we're gonna go there now. Vakratundo Ganapati to Bird of Paradise. Then we'll take a couple little back bends and then cool down, okay? So do come to standing and widen your feet to outer hip bone distance apart. Adjust your clothing as you need, and then feel the earth. Feel your own midline, your own inner nature. Okay, hands on hips. Inhale, get spacious. Exhale, bow. Bending your knees here. Work your right shoulder. Actually, I'll mirror you. Right shoulder behind your knee. Okay, reach your left arm up, clasp. You're going to work your legs towards straight as you spin your heart open. Now, the hard thing here is to keep the four corners of the body connected. Okay, so you just do your best. Thigh bones move back into the hip sockets. Arm bones move up and back into the shoulder girdle. Vakratundo Ganapati is here. Inhaling, look at the floor. Bring your left foot midline. Rise up to the ball mound of the right and slowly start to come to standing. Same thing, move the top of the left thigh back. Crank right buttock under you and then start to stretch your leg towards straight. You might start looking over to the left. Exhaling, bend the knee, bring it to the midline, come on down. Unwind, inhale, heart forward, exhale through the mouth. And just kind of rock a little back and forth here. Okay, again, if you tend to be really open, please root your tailbone so you're not just hanging out in your hamstring attachments or hip flexors, okay? Bending your knees, reach your left arm through, okay? Take this right arm over and around, and hugging your knees to the midline, move your thighs back and apart, okay? Move the head of your, especially right arm bone, back. Now what I'll do here is pull the bottom arm forward and through a little so my back has more space. Okay, hugging in with your legs, spin your heart open. Here, Asana. Rooting tailbone down, get heavy in the legs to spin your heart. Looking at the floor now, bring your right leg midline, and then rise into the left ball mound, slowly come on up. So it helps just to look at a drishti that's lower. Then move the top of your standing leg thigh back, wrap standing buttock under, or your up leg buttock under, and then stretch your leg. The inner body stays really full. Imagine doing it again here, lifting you up, supporting you, even when you feel like you can't do it. That fierce inner strength is you. You just gotta call on it from deep within. Nice work, y'all. All right, so from here, let's do a couple back bends. I'm gonna leave it up to you, okay? Been, letting people kind of do more of what they're feeling aligned with. We worked Urdhva Dhanurasana last month, so I'm going to put that in as an option. That's what's going to feel good to me. We've done a couple quad stretches, so I feel like we're open enough there. And if that's not a pose that you feel comfortable with, do go back and review the video, and we can work with it in upcoming months. And you can take Ustrasana, which is camel pose. Okay, you can also take regular bow pose, which is when you're lying on your belly, okay, holding your feet, lifting up, okay? I'll talk our friends and us through Urdhva D. Urdhva means upward, so it's just upward facing bow pose, Urdhva Dhanurasana. We'll do 3 and then quiet. Come on to your back, please. Even here, feel the 4 corners of the body connecting. So your thigh bones plug into the hip sockets. So instead of rounding like so, flattening the low back and the pubis lifted, have the navel and the pubis on the same plane. So the thigh bones are plugging into the hip sockets. And then once you place your hands by your ears, the arm bones suction back toward the floor, deepening the armpits, okay? You'll probably feel that more in your wrists, especially if you're me and you have, tighter wrists from handstanding a lot. So now, pulling your feet back energetically, lift your hips up. Pushing down into the floor, curl to the top of your head, and then draw your shoulder blades on your back. If your hands weren't wide, take them wider. Shoulder blades on the back to rise up, stretching the arms straight. Again, 4 corners of the pose stay as aligned as possible, as connected as possible. As you're ready, you can chin to the chest to lower down. Sometimes we move forward on our mats for that pose. So if you need to realign yourself, do that here. And then for the next one, we'll do 2 more. Just check your feet. They're placed outer hip bone distance apart. Okay, check your hands. So make sure they're as even as possible. Once you get to the top of your head, you'll be able to readjust hands. And then connect with your own innermost authenticity, your own innermost self. There's a part of you that actually isn't limited at all. Inhaling, lift your hips, curl to the top of your head, shoulder blades on back, rise up. Keep hugging your arms into the middle as you pump your heart through. Use your legs to do that. Hug your knees to the middle to keep your inner thighs active. One more breath. Exhaling, come on down. You might widen your feet and let your knees rest toward each other. Last back bend. So if you want to move in any given direction here, in a back bending direction, you're welcome to do that. So working with 3-legged dog, since we've been doing a lot of leg work, that would be appropriate. If you have a Dvipada Viparita Dandasana practice, you can work that here. If you don't worry. We'll work toward that in other months, so we'll be good. Placing your hands, inhale, lift your hips, come to the top of your head, rise up, and stretch. Walk your feet in a little, turn one foot out, bend your knee, and stretch. Okay, so you hug your knee in towards your chest. I keep hugging the right knee to the midline to stretch the left leg. And then I'll put it down, left knee hugs midline, right knee comes up, and I stretch. If you want to stretch your wrists here, please do. And just again, rest quietly. And then rolling to your side. It's always good to do a nice down dog after back bends. So we'll come back up to down dog, especially working the tops of the thighs back. Remember to connect the four corners of the body and the palate. Thigh bones connect to hip sockets, arm bones connect to shoulder girdle, and palate just draws very sweetly back and lengthens. And walk your hands forward, Uttanasana. So we walk your feet forward or hands back, or a combo of both, Uttanasana. And then have a seat. And we're getting to the end of class here. One more nice little stretch, Janu Shirshasana. So draw the right leg back, left leg forward. Have the right foot, excuse me, so that it's angled in such a way your knee can be pretty wide. It's wider than the midline. Then widen your sits bone out to the side, both sides. Inhaling, lengthen. Exhale, bow over this front leg. Pushing your left heel down, pull it back isometrically so that you can actually feel your low back tipping in and up. With your exhale, spin your navel over to the left as you bow over the front leg. Shoulder blades sweetly draw to the back body. Deep breaths here. Yeah, you'll probably feel this just as much in your right QL or quadratus lumborum as your hamstring on the left. With your next inhale, lengthen, rise up, switch sides, drawing the left leg back a little wider than 90. Move your sits bone out to the side. And with an inhale, lengthen heart forward. And then exhaling, bow over the front leg. Same thing here. Inhale, pull your right heel back to spin your navel to the left and even move the left side of your low back in and up more. Okay, you can use your hand to do that. And then with your exhale, fold. Feel the way that your breath supports you here and the way that your midline supports you. So every inhale, a gathering into this center. Every exhale, an expansion from it. And with your next inhale, lengthen your heart forward, rise up. And I'm feeling like I want to do just a little bit of Upavishta Konasana. So you can take your legs out to the sides. Okay, spin your calves in, thighs in, widen sits bones. Okay, inhaling. Hug your legs in toward the midline to engage your adductors. Exhale, ground your thighs down as you fold forward. Again, if your sits bones tend to lift because you're super open, use your hands to root your weight back. If you tend to be tighter in your adductors, hamstrings, you'll just tip forward here. Okay, if you're quite open, you'll kind of tip yourself back a little. Keep scooping your tailbone to lengthen out through the bones in your legs. Inhaling, lengthen, rise on up. Bring your legs back to the middle. If you feel like there's anything else you want to do, I will invite you to that. Otherwise, it's time for Shavasana. So you can just make sure that you're setting yourself up clearly. Okay. Feet are outer hip bone distance apart. Palms face the sky. Shrug your shoulders up toward your ears. Lengthen your tailbone out toward your heels and soften. And as you close your eyes and move your awareness down into the back of your body, with each exhale, allow every part of your body that's touching the earth to really release more fully into the earth's support. Release all effort in your physical body so that your muscles soften their effort and your bones can truly settle down into the support of the earth. With your next few rounds of breath, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, sighing, letting go of everything you need to let go of. Allow your jaw to soften, your tongue to soften. Allow your brow to soften. Allow your eyes to move more deeply into the hollows of your eye sockets. Feel your whole body resting on the spanda, the natural pulsation of your breath that continues to draw you into your own do-it-go-like, authentic center, the place of truth, the truth that is one for us all, but that expresses itself uniquely through you. And with each exhale, allow this remembrance to permeate all of your cells, all of your being. As though with each inhale, your midline, your center gets brighter. And each exhale allows the cells, all of the cells in your body to be reached with this luminous energy. And just bask in this experience, letting everything else go. If you have the time, you're welcome to remain in Shavasana for another couple of minutes. Otherwise, begin to bring awareness back to your physical body. Softly, lovingly welcome a deep breath into your whole torso, filling all of your inner body with breath, with life. And exhale, just release it, staying settled. Gently move and stretch, fingers, toes, arms, legs. You might stretch your arms over your head, your legs in the opposite direction. Breathe into your whole body. Then make your way over to your right side. Pausing on your right side. Feel your breath in the back of your waistline and rib cage, the back of your heart. Recognize this as the Durga-like motherly support, fierce protective support that is always available. And then use your hands to come up to a good seat. Once you get to sitting, manually widen your sits bones back and apart and fold your hands to Anjali Mudra at your heart. Feel the four corners of your body and your palate connected so that your own midline is strong and centered, so that you are centered in it. Feel what this offers you in your own presence. May we continue to affirm our own centeredness and what it means to be seated and standing in our own authentic truth and living from this place of centeredness, so that we make our world a better place by being exactly who we were born to be and embodying our highest potential. And I thank you so much for sharing this with me today. I bow to you. Namaste. So thank you. I hope you feel really good, and let that settle in, and continue coming back to the practice as often as you'd like, and throwing things in if you have extra time, cutting things out if you don't. Okay, so that's the great thing about the practice on video. And I will see you soon.